And now, Detailing Success and PNS Double Black present the RENNY DOYLE Podcast, a podcast for blue-collar entrepreneurs. Hosted by the detailer of Air Force One and founder of both Detailing Success and the Detail Mafia, RENNY DOYLE.
What's up, guys? God, it seems weird. I just got chills. It's been so long since we've done one that it's like I kind of got nervous. You know, it's like wow. So. How y'all doing? So I've got some special guests in the house today. So Chris is naturally here with us, right? So good morning, Chris. You're going to be up here shortly.
I'm here. I'm trying to get us all arranged in a way that makes sense here.
Yeah, that's cool. And then we got William Lara out of Florida. He's a good friend. I'm going to kind of explain this topic's going to be being memorable, and so we're going to talk about that. I've got so William, welcome. We're going to talk about how we met, some memorable moments. There's a lot with William.
Yes, sir.
Never ends. I've got some, we are teaching a 5-day. So I've got some students. A lot of them are back there finishing up and getting their breakfast and coffees and bringing them over. So you're going to see them kind of migrating back and forth during the podcast for those that are watching it. And then Matt. So Matt with Dynabraid, you're going to have to come in and we both have super huge heads. So we probably can't get on the screen at the same time. I think his matches his body a little better. Mine's like a Mr. Potato Head, you know, 5'8", a big head. You know,
I'm like I don't know. We should have Matt on, and I'd be the odd man out. You guys all got big heads, all three of you.
Yeah, that's I can't say what I want to say.
I know.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oops, I let it slip. Anyway, so hey, it's good to be back, and I'm going to go through and again. We've mentioned this. What we'll do is Chris, do not let me forget. These guys are going to be kind of, they were here a little late last night. And I want to make sure they get some food in them. They've got a really big 3 days in front of them. We're a little behind. So I'm going to push them hard. So before we adjourn, we're going to introduce them, but right now let's go ahead and jump into this. And so, you know, it's been a great week. We've, again, talking about being memorable and what that means. Just a few of the topics that I want to cover today and kind of put a twist to each one of them here down in a bit. So grab a coffee, grab a pen and paper. I'm all about notes. But now just a little is I like to break things into even numbers, and I like to kind of it's the kind of organized renting side of me of the search and rescue and military. Everything's laid out, right? We got a system process. So, you know, let's go through these very quickly, and then we're going to go into them in depth. We're going to open it up to with Matt, with Chris, and with William as we get into this. This is really important because being memorable is something that a lot of people aren't thinking about. Most small business owners, they're not even thinking about it, but yet I think it's probably one of the most. People think about being memorable about looks, and that's definitely part of it, but honestly it's personality, it's perseverance. And you can go ahead and just have a seat so you're not hovering, because that will make me really nervous. You'll see with Matt and I, if people are behind us to the side, we get real nervous. Ask your dad about it because of his background. Oh yeah, it's just we get a little you know, you'll see us go off the rails a little bit. But you know, a lot of people they think the wrong idea about being memorable. So I'm going to run through this great list that I kind of went through last night. And I wanted to see what artificial intelligence would say about it a little bit. I put my own notes, but this is kind of what I broke it into of being memorable is greet people real warmly on the phone and text and in person. Definitely. The thing that's missing in today's world is in person. Is everybody wants to do everything electronically, but yet the best relationships and being the most memorable is going to be in person, whether you're talking to them or right in their face. And then this is a really hard one. Number 2 is a really difficult one for me, and I'll get into some strategy on it here in a minute, is remembering people's names. It's really tough. And the first thing I asked all of our students, there's 4 students and intern. Matt's here representing Dynabraid and helping out and definitely interning and mentoring. But one of the things that we do is I tell people, hey, I gave him my phone number out to text me, and I said, what was one of the first things I told you to do when you texted me?
Name and selfie.
Yep, I need a selfie, is because I can put your face with the name, and if I say that 10 times, for me, it's there. I'll remember it. Use your confident body language and drop the dang phone when you're talking to people. Don't look at your smartwatch. It's just don't. You got to get rid of your phone when you're talking to people, but use that body language. Now, believe it or not, is our phones are part of our body language. Is that I call it, this thing is either a jet propulsion system or it's an anchor, depending on how you look at it and how you use it. If you use a phone the right way or smartwatch the right way, it is going to take and propel you into space, both in life, business, relationships, everything else. Be a good listener. This is a serious skill, is to listen in, tap into what people are saying. I've got friends of mine that they pick up on things that I just don't pick up on, and I'm using them as mentors and coaches in their ability to listen. Follow up on previous conversations. This is something that I'm really good at, and I'm going to go into this in depth. I'm not going to give a little hint away. I've got a really good strategy for all of you guys to use when it talks about this. I've used this in every aspect of my life. Already a couple times we used it in this training, and I saw a couple, and we got some young people in this training. All of them are in, I mean, you're probably the great, yeah, you're the oldest at 31. So that tells you we have a young crew, which I love. Find commonalities with people. That's a big one, and being memorable. Have a positive attitude. Is your attitude, it goes back to, greeting people warmly, is that I can tell by a person's tone when they speak to other people on the phone if they're going to hit maximum potential. Now, most people don't have thick enough skin for me to coach on that. And so I wish I could shake that into them, is that positive attitude is absolutely everything. The way you greet people, the way that you respond, your body language, something that's a joke to you is not funny to other people. Okay. Being serious and direct. A lot of people say I'm too busy. I just got to be direct. It's insultive to some customers. Okay. So you got to be really careful with that. Who taught me that was my old fashioned Italian mom and grandma, is that I had that drilled into me from a really young age. Be ready to talk about diverse topics. We've had some amazing conversations this week in training. Is I've been able to nerd out like a lot of people don't know that, man. Did you guys expect me to be all nerdy about a couple of topics? Not at all, right? Doesn't fit. The looks don't judge a book by color, right? And so it's the same with you guys. I didn't think that, and so to be able to nerd out with these guys about some really cool stuff that a lot of people just don't know I have an interest in has been a lot of fun. And it comes back to being very diverse in your topic lines, and this group has been one of the most diverse groups we've had. It's been a lot of fun. And then also is to be active community-wise, industry-wise, life-wise, is that this simple thing of being active in the community, being active in your industry, being active in other people's businesses, meaning helping them find business. Okay. So a friend came by, we just got done. We did a remodel in our backyard, or in the midst. It's probably 80% done. And they're saying, wow, where'd you get all your trees and shrubs? Oh man, I pushed the company. They're great. Right. And so last night I was talking to my buddy, and he says, yeah, I just went by there. And I said, did you get some? He goes, I basically asked him, what did you get? And he says, I just spent $4,000. I felt good. You know why? Because I gave another family business here that we know real well. I gave them the ability to buy Nikes for their kids, to take and go on vacations. Is that I feel a little responsible for giving them the ability to having a better life. I want them to have a better life, just like I want to have a better life. And so I love seeing people sharing their business, and they smiled. Well, guess what I got right before we come on the podcast? The owner texted me, and she says, I can't thank you enough. Simple words. That was look, I get all teary-eyed. And then number 10 is practice proper courtesies and manners. This should be number 1, because we live in a society to where a lot of people will blame the young. Bullshit. There is every sector from newborns to people just about ready to exit out that are just freaking rude and mean. And so we're going to go over that. So before we start with this today, I kind of introduced our guest, but what I want to do now is we have an extra time. Everybody's kind of settled in. Man, you guys didn't bring food. Oh, you did bring food. We got a little food. We got coffee. So I'm just going to have you guys come up here. There's a little green light. I'm going to switch it over to the camera. all of you guys come on at one time, gather in real tight, so you guys can all introduce yourselves real quick. Okay, just look at the green. Come on up. Come on. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Get up here. Get in there. All at one time. Okay. So go down the line, and so we can get Chris. Can you see everybody? We got everybody. Looks like we do.
Yeah, pretty good. When they each introduce themselves, just have them step up.
Okay. So what we'll do is just kind of the front. We're going to go right here. Our intern, Sergio, go for it.
Hi, I'm Sergio. I'm from Southern California. I have a shop down here in Rancho Cucamonga, just right down the hill. Been in business for 5 years, and I'm interning this year. So.
Right on. Doing a great job interning too, young man.
Hello, everybody. My name's Dylan. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Blaisdell, New York. Been at it for about 2 years. Trying to start my own company. Just take the details. Yeah.
Right on.
Looking forward to it.
Cool.
And Dylan loves air travel.
Yeah, he loves air
Oh,
travel.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
Anthony Carrera, 31, Clearwater, Florida, and I am the detail specialist. Been in it since 2017 full time.
Cool.
Welcome, Anthony.
Started as a hobby.
Right on. All right. Young man.
I'm Taylor. I'm 21. I'm the wax wizard with my brother here, and that's what I got.
Cool. Come on up, buddy.
That name.
I'm Connor Casey. I'm 19, and I'm from Wax Wizards out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. We're just getting started.
Cool. And can you say freedom? This kid taught me something the first day, first hour. So pretty amazing. So, all right, go have a seat, guys. It was pretty cool because we figured out one of you guys, they had a long career at UPS. Chris will know what I'm talking about. It already happened, Chris. It happened day one. You know, it happened day one. So there you go. So, hey, let's jump in and have a little fun. Is that, you know, and again, I'm going to go, we've been absentee. And I would say I apologize, but I don't, because it's been good for good reasons. Is this could be a little emotional. Is many of you, if you haven't heard of Boomer, you know, our dog, you know, if you're new to the show or maybe just don't catch it all the time, is we lost Boomer 2 months ago today, 8 weeks ago today. And I just want to say thank you for all those that reached out to us. It meant a lot to us. We miss him. It was tough. Right behind that, I was just recovering from that, and Rip, my horse, and I had a pretty bad accident. And so I'm lucky. I'm glad to be here. I decided at a flash of a second that Rip and I weren't going to die. Thank God we didn't. It could have been, really bad. I was rushed to a trauma center. And luckily, with God's grace and thank God for lifting my whole life, is I came out okay. I've had a couple of follow-up procedures. I got to have a surgery on my jaw, but I'm good to go. I was back on him 24 hours later, and so he's okay. We're okay. Air Force One, I took. It was really fun. It was the 20th anniversary, and I took a trip up and camped out along the way. A little more rushed, but then on the way back, I took a whole week and did overlanding all the way down through Washington, Idaho, Montana, and in northern Utah, and it was a blast. With that, we introduced, with Matt, is Dinah Braid and myself. Dinah Braid introduced the Renny Doyle series of polishers, the first in the lineup, and we've been really busy. Defender, PNS Double Black Defender, was accepted and used on the aircraft we preserve at the Museum of Flight up at Boeing. That's a big one. We're really excited to see how those planes look in another few months, in 6 to 12 months. Trip home was amazing. And then next week, we're actually having a leadership course here in Big Bear that is going to be all based on search and rescue and military type activities, and relating all those activities back to business. It's not hardcore. We're not going to go out and march them or anything like that or get in their faces. It's low stress, but there are going to be some pucker factors involved. And so Chris is excited because he gets to partake.
I'm thrilled.
And so you're going to be more thrilled. You're going to come out with a smile. So it's the first of these. We want to do one. We're thinking about next year doing an industry one for the industry. So we'll see how this goes. But it's going to be a lot of fun. In today's what's that?
I was going to say, mixed in all that, man, we had a handful of Coffee Coatings and Profits events we did, which had us on the road. I mean, there was a lot going on, which just made making the podcast happen.
It did. Well, we did 17. We did 17 events plus 2 5 days in 2.5 months. So we were all over the place. Plus Air Force One, all the things we just mentioned. So we kind of had to put some stuff to the side burner to get stuff done. So good point. So we rested up. I feel good. Chris, you went on vacation. You're up in northern Idaho, did the road trip. Did you come down through 93 in the Bitterroot Valley?
Yeah, I went, spent a week in Coeur d'Alene. I actually stopped and visited Zach Bernal in our group up at his shop there too for a little bit. Went to go say hi to him, but spent a week up there, did some cool stuff. Went on a side-by-side for a day back in the Panhandle National Forest. That was the highlight of my trip. And yeah, we took 93 through the Bitterroot Valley. I don't think you knew this, but did you know that takes you to one of the filming locations for Yellowstone?
I did not.
Oh, wow.
Yep, right by the main ranch, the one with the big white barn and the big ranch house was right there. I was following this guy or behind this guy, and I'm like, man, this dude is lost. What is he doing? And I saw him pull over, and when he pulled over, I saw why he pulled over, and it was because he was looking for the filming location.
I'll be dang.
So
now that we know, you just heard my horse's name is Rip. He was born before and named. He's third generation Rippers is his name. We call him Rip for short. But when he's in trouble, like when he steps on my face, we call him Rippers. And so he's not named after the show. The show's named after him. But he is not mean at all. He's a big baby. Matter of fact, that day we had a pretty bad, it was kind of share, is that we were up. I was asked to join the local search and rescue mounted division. And so I went up and represented the National Guard. My wife's on the team. I've been with San Bernardino County search and rescue for many years. I took a little leave of absence to do some stuff with the military. And we're up. We just taken off, and we got on a hillside. Rip was having a little bit of a hard time. He didn't like some of the crevices. There's some really, because we had a nasty winter. So it's pilot error. As the pilot, I should have calmed him down and got off of him and kind of worked him. But I wanted to see what he would do, what his reactions were. We've been in that situation before. So he got a little nervous, and when he jumped over the crevice and creek bed, he did with a lot of energy. I was fine at that point, but what we didn't count is the horses. He's pretty big, and he was around horses that aren't quite used to him. And he's a sweetheart, but he is intimidating because he's big. And they knocked down some rock fall, and it came down and hit us. And I did great on the first jump. The second bunny hop, I was going right, he was going left, and I came down, and his front right hoof landed on my face, ended up on my chest, and then his back hoof ended up on my rib cage.
That must have hurt.
Yeah, when I got up, I spit some teeth particles out and did a body check, and no head trauma. No, I didn't felt my jaw was probably fractured or broken. And was a little worried about ongoing issues. So we were at kind of out, not really in the middle of nowhere, but back where we couldn't get any reception. So we self-rescued, got me to a trauma center. They were getting ready to fly me out, and they did a CT scan and X-rays and blood test. And the trauma doctor came in and said, "I can't believe this, but you don't have a single broken bone. You got a lot of facial soft tissue damage." Some nerve damage, and really torn up rib cage. And we don't know how you're walking still because your back and neck are just facing the wrong directions just from all the excitement. So most likely I had some prior jaw damage from a hard landing from a lot of years ago. I've tried to have it fixed a couple times. So this made sure I'm going to go get those things fixed now. And so here we are. That's what happened. So, hey, let's jump right into this, man. So today's world, small businesses, where so many of us are cookie cutter, especially in service businesses. Me too. Everybody duplicates. They got the same lighting systems. They've got the same, the same type of reels. They've got the same. I mean, it's just you look at one service provider and you kind of see 90% of them is just nothing really stands out. And you got to remember, I say 90%. That's because 10% of the businesses are doing 90% of the profits. And that's across the board. It's not just in service business. It's across the board. And so you're seeing a lot of that. So I like to see that a small percentage of the entrepreneurs out there now, they're really developing key relationships. They're developing cultures. Even the 1 or 2% person shows, and they're developing reputations that are really, really standing out. That's what when we're building our companies up, even now, is that we want to have those relationships, that culture, and the reputations. That's what I'm after. And so really what we're going to talk about today is doing that. Now, a little funny story about William is William and I met down at Mobile Tech, and then the next year, is that correct, when we went out on the patio, William?
No, it was actually the first year.
Was it right when we met?
2017, yeah.
So, William's memorable is that, I've got ADD that's developed into ADHD as an adult. William's got, if you could go like ADHD times 20, he's got an incredible laugh. But we set out, and he said, "Hey, I've got a great cigar for you," because I do enjoy a good cigar every once in a while. I'm really sad right now because I can't have any cigars because of my pending procedures. But we sat out on the patio. I took a couple minutes. I said, I like this guy, and he tried real hard. Okay, he tried real hard, not too hard. You ever see people, they just try too hard? Does that make sense? They're too desperate. Is that, William put the right touch to trying to build a friendship, a relationship. And I said, I'm going to go have a cigar with this guy, take a little break. And William, it was a pretty cool time, wasn't it?
It sure was. Talking about memorable was one of those, moments that I just can't forget even if I wanted to,
No, we sat out there, we talked. And so we took the time to get to know each other, and it was really, really special. And so let's go over now. We're gonna get Matt, Chris, and William engaged in this next section. And so let's go through those 10 items number by number. So number one, greet people warmly on the phone and text in person. I always say this. I've said this on several episodes. I've said this at events. Being nice and friendly is free. It costs nothing to have good hospitality. Is that when I see bad service at a restaurant, it's like pointless. It's so easy to offer somebody a smile. Even the worst customers in the world, the meanest people, is that offering a smile, if anything, is going to make you feel better. And so I don't get it when people are short, especially in service business, especially small business. Being negative, aggressive, or short with others is the quickest way to reach the bottom of your industry that you can go. Is that if you don't have the right tone and the right outlook, is that you might not even realize it. You probably don't. But the second you do, is that you need to change it. Now, a true friend, this is another part of this. This is something that we've got a problem with in society big right now. Is that I recently had a heart-to-heart with somebody I care greatly about, is that they're offline from their normal self. I know this person. I know he's got great respect for me, and I've got great respect for him. And I shared some facts, and I shared some things I'm seeing. That man didn't get defensive and start canceling me out. He stood up, shared with me how disappointed he was in himself and how grateful he was that I was bringing that up to him. And I saw instant change at that very freaking moment. Now, most people won't take that constructive criticism. You are the asshole for trying to bring them up. You got to remember, 90%, the difference between, I've said this to you guys, the difference between me at being 57 and you being at 31 is I've been young before. You haven't been old yet. Okay. And so I know some pathways. Now, there's some older people, there's some more wise people that aren't very wise. So if they're giving you bullshit, there's a difference between bullshit and wisdom. And you got to be able to cut that out somehow. But right now, unfortunately, everybody thinks it's bullshit and their way is the only way. And they're reinventing the wheel. And it's a quick trip. It's a quick trip to hell. Why do I say hell? Because you're going to struggle. You're not going to stand out. You're going to take and you're going to have opposing forces going against you. And relationships aren't going to come easy. The biggest thing I want is less stress and virtually no friction in a relationship. Does that make sense? So that's that greeting people warmly. Makes sense. Matt, anything to add?
Yeah,
They got you.
What I like to
That's a
do,
good mic.
yeah, what I like to do is establish, when I meet somebody, is establish a trust. If they feel that they can trust me, they feel that they can open up. By establishing that trust, but it also means that I'm not the know-it-all. I have to be humble and listen. And I think being humble is something that we've all forgotten how to do, is accepting criticism or accepting questions or anything that, be open to it, be humble, be approachable, and you will gain the trust of the individual. And then you'll establish a relationship that just keeps on growing.
Yeah. William?
I think Matt nailed it there. I think the key factor is just to be humbled and build the right relationships. Yesterday I was visiting, quite a few locations, and I've noticed that all these people just need a lending ear. You know what I mean? They need somebody that they could talk to and ask, which they don't have.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you could just build a relationship, everything else just comes along the way, down the line, becomes a dominoes effect. But I feel like, Matt nailed it pretty much on that.
No. Chris, you got anything?
Well, I come back to when you first started talking on this item number one here, especially when it's on the phone, right? What is it they say? People can actually hear you smile, and I'm the first one to admit that sometimes that's not always easy for me either. But you could definitely tell a difference, when you first start that communication with someone.
And here's the biggest thing I'm going to tell you right now is that can help you with what Chris just said. If it's not easy for you sometimes and you get caught up and you feel yourself kind of being stressful with customers or people, is that go join Toastmasters and tell them, I need you guys to put me in a stressful position. They're going to teach you, and it's not going to be instant. It's going to take you maybe years to take and gain that grateful attitude in your speaking. It changed me. As a kid, I had a chip on my shoulder because I was a special ed kid. I had a learning disability. I had all these different things. And it wasn't really a chip. It was a lack of confidence. And what they taught me to do is just be cheerful in who I am. And I really glass half full. I really want to do that. Happiest place on earth. These are all terms that I use constantly within our team and within our group. And I believe that to my core. I want to be a happy person. Naturally, I'm very fortunate because I am a happy person. We've all had things. We've had periods in our life where things have happened. And for the first time in my career, I went on that cancel culture thing. I got nailed, right? And so many people were so afraid to come out. And I'm going to talk about a couple people here, a powerhouse couple in the industry, the Davises, is, Kevin Davis says it like it is. And that guy's him and Michelle are the gentlest people in the world until you make them not. And he won't get rude, but he will defend people's honor. And I like that. I think we need that back in the culture because people are so afraid that once they defend somebody else, that they themselves will be canceled. And it's true. But you know what? At some point, you just got to say, fuck it. I'm going to take and stand up for what I know is right. And I'll tell you what, since it happened to me, I had no problem going and defending somebody. I just shut somebody down. Somebody came to me just recently, I was telling you guys, and say, hey, did you hear about what's and such? I don't want to hear about such and such because they're not here. Is if you wait until CMR or Mobile Tech and pull them up next to me and you can tell me in front of their face. Shut them down right then and there. I don't want to hear rumors. Don't want to hear it. Even if it's first found facts, I don't want to know it. Unless they're there, because there's the other side, and that person they're talking about is actually a really good person. And I don't know their struggles they're facing if they did do that. And I don't want to know that because that person doesn't know the struggles or the wars they're facing right now either. And so I shut it down. Number two. Remember,
hey, real fast before you dive into number two, you just mentioned, the glass half full, glass half empty concept. I was thinking about you yesterday because I saw a meme that said, if you're the glass half empty kind of person, just pour the contents into a smaller glass.
I like that. I like that. And you know what? And go day by day, man. If you're struggling with stuff, I had to learn that. And really what I've done is, you said something, Matt, earlier, is you've got to get to the point where when things happen to you or people happen to you, it's got to be on a, what'd you say about the duck?
It's water off the duck's back.
Yeah, because a duck repels water real well, right? It just let it shit off you. These people don't count. Listen, all of us think the spotlight's on us. Oh God, people are, it's really not. They're going to attack you, but really it's about them. It's not about you. They're threatened by you, or they're threatened by their own shortcomings. Okay, and some are really threatened by really shortcomings.
Remember, kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. Okay. Number 2, remember people's names. This is a tough one for me. And so the first thing I do is, when I meet somebody, they're going to text me, and I say, hey, make sure that you send me a picture with it. Why? I identify their face, and that helps me remember their name. The other thing in conversations is that you'll hear me repeat their name several times. If I can say their names 10 times when I meet them, I'll remember their name for life. And so once I've got your name down, is you can say somebody's name that trained with us 10 years ago. I remember them by their face. I remember the name, but the face and the name together, boom, it's rock solid. Number 3, use confident body language and drop the dang phone. Okay. The eyes tell a story, as does the head. Here's the thing, is those that are listening aren't going to be able to see this, but if I'm listening to you and all of a sudden I go, what did I just tell you? My eyes looked to the left, and I looked around a little bit, and my breathing, I took a breath because I was frustrated. I'm not into you at all. So if you're over here and somebody's in front of you and you're thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner tonight, or you're thinking about the car that you've got to take and put PPF on, and there's somebody in front of you, you just lost them. Especially if it's me. I'm a people person. I want to connect. I have to connect. On everything in my life, I've got to connect. This is a weird kind of conversation, is that when I was young, I wasn't a hoe bag. I didn't like that aspect because I had to connect with people. I had to like them. Once I liked them, okay, I was a little hoe bag, but that's okay. But my point is that my friends would go to bars. I didn't like that scene. It just didn't offer me what I needed in my life as a really, really young person. I'm talking teens. And in my adult life, I still coming back on my trip, as I'd pull over and I'd have lunch, and I didn't mean to. I didn't know where I was going. I knew I was heading to Idaho, and I knew I was going to Sandpoint, and then I pulled up my what's called my SAR topo, and I said, okay, where's the wilderness access? Where can I get as far away from everybody as I could? Well, my truck's a full-size overland vehicle. I got to be a little careful, right? I can get myself trapped. So I got back on this road in Idaho, and I got back and I said, okay, it looks pretty wide. So I blew up the map, put it up on my big screen on the RAM, blew it up, and I said, no, I can reach that. So I spent the night with every single night I camped out, I didn't see another human being. But when I pull over for gas, I always tried to say hi to somebody. And during my saying hello is one of the cool stories is I pull into I hadn't had any like normalized cooking. I was cooking for myself. I loved it. And so I pulled into a restaurant and Cracker Barrel. So I just pulled into to Montana, and there's a guy and a lady, and the guy's probably 10 years older than me. He's walking away from a 65 Chevelle. You don't see a lot of 65 Chevelles, first off. And as he's walking away from it, he's looking at it. He's going all around it. And I said, that's a new car to him. And so I parked my truck and I walked over towards there. I had a bottle of Bead Maker in my hand. And I said, hey, man, is this a 65? And he goes, yes, man, you don't see many of those. He goes, you don't. I just bought it. I ended up having lunch with them. I gave him a bottle of Bead Maker. They bought my lunch. Diane sent him a whole kit of different manufacturers' products. We sent him Defender. We sent him Express. We sent him Dynamic. Awesome. I mean, and so it's funny because he texted me or he emailed me last night and he said, hey, I just wanted to tell you that I went and bought it on Amazon. I love this stuff. So not to only make a friend, we made a customer. And so is that by doing that is that I had the right body language. I came up, I wasn't creepy. We enjoyed a meal together. I did that. I pulled into Blackfoot, Idaho, and there's a horse tethered to a tree outside of a restaurant. So I walk in and I see the gal. She was not typical. She had an amazing story. Her horse was cool. He was a Mustang. So a rescue. She went and got him from a glue. Basically, he's going to go to a glue factory. You guys that don't know horses, to tie a horse up to a tree outside of a busy restaurant is a pretty cool horse. I had an amazing lunch with her. I bought her lunch. We were both special education kids. And she realized that kids with ADD and ADHD and all these different struggles really relate to horses. So she's got a nonprofit that takes these horses, brings these kids together. She rescues the horses because she donates the horses to the families. She finds the places, the ranches for boarding that will donate the boarding and the food to the kid. So the horse costs the family nothing. The feeding costs them. The only thing that she says she's working on is getting vet care taken care of. That's the only thing she's missing. I said, "What's your foundation?" So she told me. I went over there right then and there, $100. So your body language, these people were a little standoffish, but I was warm with them. And I just wanted to learn their story. And so that's what you got to do, is crossed arms. This can mean a couple things. You got your arms crossed now. You're not angry. Crossed arms can be a couple things. For me, is you're kind of a bulky guy. You're not a small guy. There's sometimes my arms aren't comfortable, right? So I bring them up. For me, it's not an aggression. You got to be able to know the difference. So I have a lot of people in a class, and I've had people tell me, wow, the one guy has had crossed arms. No, he's relaxing. That wasn't as stressed out. You got to be able to read that. And with backgrounds, you get to read that kind of thing, is your command presence. In the military and law enforcement, they call it a command presence. Is you're going to learn this presence. You'll have a commanding person. Matt, I know he's big. He's big. And sometimes just his size will be intimidating. But he's a big puppy dog. And I've gotten to know his is what's aggression to other people is relaxation for him. And so you got to be able to do that. Breathing. This is a big one. I watch people's breathing. I can see when, like right now, your breathing is really mellow. I can tell just by one up and one down of a chest if he's agitated or if he's mellow. I'm going to be watching you guys as you guys take and do new things with the tools and stuff. What's the level of anxiety? And then I got to figure out a way to bring your anxiety down. Teasing is one of them. And by the way, I've teased them a lot. It's because I like you, and believe me, all of you got it coming because I like all of you. And then being occupied with your phone, your smartwatches, it's such a distraction. It's rude. It's rude. And let me tell you, it's not young people. It's my brother is 12 years, or no, hold on. How old is Brandy? 8 years older than me, my middle brother. I hate it. He's the worst. You can't get him off his damn phone. He can't get him off his damn phone. And so, I have a tendency of looking at my watch because it's a smartwatch. It goes zzz with something new, and I've got to learn. I either got to turn it off or learn to ignore it when I'm in front of somebody. Because what happens when you do this? You look at your phone. Most of us, I think you're checking your time. You got something else to do. When somebody looks at their watch, that's what I think they're doing because that's of my era. What do you guys think when somebody looks at their watch? If you're having a discussion and all of a sudden they do this, what's your opinion of that?
I think they think, how much longer is he going to keep holding me here?
Okay, how much he's keeping you home there, right? It's a time issue. Would you agree? It's a time thing. And so doing that is you got to get that. And I'm telling you, that's a problem I got. This is one of the problems I got to work on myself. Number 4, be a good listener. This is a serious skill. This is a skill that you got to develop over and over and over throughout your growing years. As you get older, believe it or not, you guys got the attention span of a gnat when you're younger. Some of us. My attention span's challenged because William's attention span is, a goldfish has an attention span of 7.5 seconds. William's got about a second and a half. Especially when you're taking this picture. His first year on Air Force One, how many times have we had to tell you to look straight ahead, William?
Quite a few times.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
Here's the thing, though, is that we tease him with it, but I can relate to him, right? Is that attention span. So expanding the attention span is really important, right? Is that you got to be in listening. What is it? It's your attention span. It's your attention. It's putting your attention on somebody else. Here's the thing, though. is own it when you talk too much. I'm pointing my finger at me. Okay. Own it. Own it. Realize when you are, and then shut yourself down. Okay. I've had to learn that. Also, knowing when to talk is a big one. You know,
There's a dog.
There's a dog on camera. He's a little spoiled. We found out that Jesus, homeboy wants to eat constantly. And he's everybody's friend as long as you got food.
That's funny.
Yeah, but here's the other thing is that I've got this new saying, and I wish I heard where I could give this credit, is does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And does it need to be said right now? Ask yourself that. Now, remember in this, if somebody attacks somebody else and the other person's not there, I don't attack that person. I just shut him down. Now, that person that is trying to gossip, because that's what it was, is going to feel really uncomfortable at Seamer or Mobile Tech, because I'm going to grab the other person and him and say, okay, you started telling me a story about him. He's here now. Why don't you tell a story? That person's never going to do that again, because that person doesn't want to say it in front of that person. That's what we as a society need to do. Shut this bullshit down. And it's until we stand up and do it, you just got to be strong enough to say, don't talk about somebody unless I press. You know what they'll do? They're going to respect you. The other thing, if they've got the balls to talk about that person when they're not there, and they feel comfortable enough saying that to you, they're going to talk shit about you when you're not there too. So shut them down. They're going to remember that the rest of their lives. When the next time they go to gossip, they're going to think your name just for a flash of a second. And so own it. Be a good listener. If you don't use the skill, it's a diminishing skill. It's a skill that will go away. Okay. And so I've had to learn it in all aspects of my life, all aspects.
But I think it goes back to the topic, going back to 1, 3, and now 4. You don't know the impact you can make in somebody's life or day just by listening, being positive, and just building that relationship with them. It could be a domino effect, and you never know what it could lead to.
I love that. I love it. So number 5, follow up in previous conversations. I'm going to give you my best buddy. I've mentioned him a lot of times. Rich I love this man. I love him we've been friends since we're early teens years. We played sports. I adore him. I adore everything he's done. I did the ceremony and married his wife and him up in northern Utah 2 months ago today, same day that Boomer passed. I just adore this guy. I'm not kidding you. He would be deployed somewhere and I'd be doing my thing. We would go usually no more than 2 years without seeing each other. We could pick up on a chess game that we left from 2 years ago and know exactly what piece we touched last. Him and I will get together. When I was coming back from Air Force One, I had to drop down through Northern California or Northern Utah. I camped out on the very, very upper, almost up towards you guys, in Wyoming. And as I was coming down into close to him, he's a helicopter pilot, so his schedule's a little. Called him up and he goes, "Are you coming out through Utah?" So he knew where I was, right? I said, "I am. You home?" He goes, "I'm home." I said, "Let's go do lunch." We were having a conversation at his wedding on the weekend, and we picked up on the conversation without even saying anything, right where we left off. We don't even need to finish conversations because we know the next time we see each other, we're going to finish the conversation. Does that make sense? Your customers are the same way. So I had a friend, I told you guys, I got a friend that's their family's facing something. They're going to lose a key family member, is got a disease. And I told these young people yesterday he popped into my mind. And all I could say was, "Hey, buddy, I'm thinking of you guys." That's all I said. And we had the greatest conversation after that last night. Simple. And so sometimes being a good listener and then previous conversations and continuing those with customers is remembering. I will never forget what you guys are into. Is we made a connection, horses, dogs, right off the bat. Is that we completely geeked out, right? Our connection with is believe it or not, I'm not Latino, but I grew up in a Latino town, and so some of the things that you say with your family and stuff, I completely relate to, not from experiencing it directly, but from being a part of those families, indirectly, because they took me in as family, right? And I even, shared that going to Christian's wedding this week. God, was that magical.
So Rennie, are you trying to say that you're part like Mexican or like what?
I partially am. They had to have a talk with me when I moved to Idaho. My friends had to tell me I wasn't Mexican. And so that's a whole different discussion, and then number 6 is find commonalities. I just talked about that right now. We've got common with your customers. Really, it's kind of personal. You bet it's personal. My best customers, they know about me, and I know about them. Still to this day, is we've got customers from 25 years ago that are far more than Dave Morris, my first customer ever, one of my dearest friends in life. I mean, he started out as a friend, went to a customer, stayed as a friend and a customer. There was times he was a customer and not, we had to deal business, right? I adore the guy.
You mentioned it early on too, commonalities, like when you and William first met, right? That commonality was cigars, right? And look what that's led to.
And look what the friendship it's led to. And we both have ADHD. I mean, there's a lot of
severe.
Yeah, severe. We both have huge heads. Mine's this way, his is this way, but we have all these things. So no, Chris, it's exactly it.
Now that I think about it, maybe you guys are related.
We could be. Oh, you know what, son? What's your mom look like? So number 7, number 7 is have a positive attitude. I'm telling you what, a positive attitude is addictive. Right now, you can change a company's culture by having the right positive attitude. Is because leadership will see yours and they will get rid of the cancer. They really will. If you stick around long enough, you can change everything with a positive attitude. Easier said than done. Because if you allow any cancer at all is around you, it's gonna gobble up. And soon it's gonna wear down in you. And so you've got to be able to get rid of anything that's around you that's cancerous. But that addictive attitude there is no room for negative when you have that outlook. One of the things I do is every day I wake up, and this morning my alarm went off early. I sat in bed, I looked at the clock, and I timed it this morning. And it took me 3 minutes. As I said my little prayer this morning, and I meditated on the things I was thankful for yesterday. And the things I was thankful for, the opportunities I already had. We had a meeting today about the new tool. Just a real quick one to go over. I had this podcast that I had prepared for last night. And I said, these are the things I'm already positive. All these cool people that are around me today. And then this podcast, this meeting, I'm already thankful for the day. I don't know what I'm gonna say tonight. I mean, it surprised me, so just that kind of outlook. How can you have a shitty day? My wife last night gave me one of the best compliments ever. You guys are going to laugh. Beavers changed my life at an early age. When I was camping in northern Utah last week, you guys, shush. When I was self-cleaning beavers. I camped out. The only friends I had is there's a family of beavers that had. I walked up in this big pond. I went, wow, it's a big, huge, deep beaver dam. And then all of a sudden I went, holy shit! There was this mama and dad out, literally one of the first swims with this baby, and it would go underwater a little bit and make this little cry, and the mom would lift it up on her tail, and they're training it. And I got to witness that. When I called Diane, she goes, Rennie, we've been married for almost 30 years. And she goes, when I met you, you were so playful and I was free. I put restrictions. This young man said freedom the first day. That, the deer, the bear, the beavers, is just sitting having a cup of coffee and watching Mother Nature live changed my life. It's for the first time in 25 years, the 10-year-old the 20-year-old and the 25-year-old was saying, good job, older you, this is who you are. And I have felt so amazingly positive since taking some downtime and recharging my batteries. Yeah, there's been a couple negative things brought up, and I'm like, I listened to it because I had to, and then I went, okay. And it's like, now I'm like, okay, what were they? Fuck. 2 months ago, that would have kept me awake for three nights in a row. I can't remember what they are now. And what I relate back to is the happiness I saw by just the gift that God gave us in Mother Nature and watching the beauty, and something that I've enjoyed my whole life, and having alone time. I wasn't near another human being. I didn't need to be. I needed to be around those animals and Mother Nature, and they fed me what I needed. It sounds really probably stupid to some people, but it's true. You need
it's
to
just the simplistic things in life, you know?
It is. And for, William's down in Miami, Florida, he's going, what the hell is a beaver? And so your joy is going to come from different sources. Mine has always been animals in the mountains, Mother Nature, even the desert. In the wintertime, the desert's an amazing place to go. It's filled with life, and it's filled with beauty. And it can be one of the coldest places you've ever slept in your life. So your positive attitude and your outlook it will change you. It will change others in a very positive way or a very negative way. Choose which one. Being positive all the time can be a challenge. Being negative will kill you. It'll kill your business. It'll kill your happiness. It'll kill your freedom. Choose your heart. It's a lot easier. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say, we got a comment that just popped up a minute ago. I can't tell who it is, but it says William always has a positive attitude. And actually, I second that. Every time he calls me or texts me, it's always a positive attitude. But I was going to ask him how the heck he does it.
Man, honestly, it's we're not perfect. We're all human beings. We all go through our struggles and everything. And I feel just trying to change that mindset and the perspective of things. It could be through a conversation, a message, could change everything, not just for the person you're communicating with, but for yourself. So it's like, if I can help you have a better day, it makes my day better. And just, I forget about, like Rennie says, about all the other, BS. And it's just, I just try to live my life like that.
The thing, Chris, to think about this is that I am married to my absolute dream girl. I am. So when I look at things and I think they're bad, I say, okay, I live in a place I love. I live in a house I love. I live with the woman of my dreams. My kids are all independent. All of them. I love my dogs. I love my horses. I love my thrills. I love my friends. What the fuck do I have to complain about? I have a home with water, electricity, and hardwood floors. When I go over and flip a light switch, it comes on. I don't have to freaking I don't have to make a campfire to make my dinner. Although that week coming home and having a campfire and cooking, tell you what, I'm going back. I'm going back real soon.
So the Joe Walsh, Joe Walsh from the Eagles, the song "Life's Been Good."
Yeah,
it's always stuck out to me, that one line in that song that says, "I can't complain, but sometimes I still do."
Absolutely, and when you I'm not always cheery. I mean, I went through. I would say I've only gotten rude with Chris 1 or 2 times, and all the time I've been together. I just was in a pressure cooker. I blame other people for putting me in that pressure cooker. No, I blame me for allowing them to put me in that pressure cooker. I should have, as soon as I saw that happening, I should have stepped back and said, that ain't happening. Believe me, it doesn't happen now. It won't happen again. Because the second that I feel that, I'm already on it. Maybe a little too much right now. I got to learn to control it, right? But as soon as I feel that, nope, not going there. Not putting myself in that position, not allowing it to happen to me. So let's reword this and get this fixed right now, because I ain't going there. Freedom. It's freedom. I don't want negative people around me. And I like to see people happy, and I like to see people successful, even my competition, because I'm one of those old-fashioned people that think if my competition's doing good, I can do better. If they're doing that good, I don't get jealous. I just go up to them and say, what the hell are you doing? Jeremy Stevens, Shine Supply, okay, competitor, right? I love to see his post, man. I like to see him happy. I want to see him build a multi-million-dollar business because mine's going to be bigger because I'm competitive and I'm going to be just as happy or happier. Does that sound competitive? It's competitive in a really cool way. Jeremy and I get together. A lot of people don't know this. And every time we get together, we make each other cry because he's had struggles in life and I've had struggles. And we realize all this bullshit that people do in the industries and stuff like that is exactly that. It's bullshit when it comes down to it. You know, is that maybe I got a wicked way of looking at things because I've watched a lot of people take their last breath. You know, we had talked about some of that yesterday. I had a tough night last night sleeping because it brought out some things that I shouldn't have mentioned that I know better to bring up. And Diane said I was tossing and turning all night because I take it personal, you know, is what I've seen. Most people have never seen that. I don't want most people. It's a burden that I took on that I can handle. And even being as strong as I am, it still at times bugs me. Okay. So your burden is big and everybody's burden is different. Although we got a lot of wussies that don't know what true burden is. So number 11, rude and short with people. I got no room for that. Is that all too common? We have the opportunity to be polite. It's free. Is that when I hear people being short, you can say, oh, it's just my personality. Then change your personality. If you're an entrepreneur, listen, if you make a widget that everybody has to have, and this widget goes into the hub of every car that's manufactured, and they have to have your widget, and all you do is want to produce widgets, and they have to come to you, and you're not a people person, then hire somebody that is. That's a go-between between you and that. But most of us can't afford or do that. Is we're going to have interactions with our customers, our suppliers, and our industry constantly. You've got to stop being short. You cannot be short, and you can't push people away. You got to be a magnet bringing people in, not bear spray that you're spraying all over people. Okay, you can't be that way. So I want to share. I've got some names here, and we're gonna end this pretty quick. First off, is I want to thank. I mean, Double Black, Penis Double Black, Dynabraid, two major sponsors for Air Force One. So many. I mean, your company with Megan, you know, getting in. So many. The industry stood up. This is no longer Air Force One's not a Renny Doyle project. It's not a Detail Mafia project. It's an industry project. That project this year, because we brought the industry in, we invited the industry, was, I don't know, Chris, what do we total expenditures, just money going out? 80,000? 70,000?
Oh, it's more than that.
100,000? Yeah. I don't even really want to know. I mean,
I thought we were supposed to keep this positive.
So
I still don't have all the final numbers, but I know it's over 80.
Well, even in my trip up, because my truck doesn't get, you know, I spent easily, you know, a couple grand on just fuel, you know, getting equipment up there and then coming back. But the industry, my point to this is that we couldn't do it without the industry. First off, the volunteers, all the Mafia members, you know, that were up there, all the way from the application. A lot of people don't know it, but Chris and I are turning in next year's application next week. It takes us really 11 months to put that project together. It takes that long. It's a big ordeal. I mean, it's big. And so we could not do it without the volunteers. And let me tell you, there's rumors all over the industry, you know, Renny makes millions of dollars. This is going to be the biggest out-of-pocket project I ever did. Is that, you know, Dynabraid and P&S were the main sponsors. Honestly, Renny Doyle and Diane Doyle were the biggest sponsors. We had the biggest amount invested, you know, and so Dynabraid and I went in partners, and we gave those tools away to each member. You know, that was a partnership. You know, we gave them those tools, and that was a big investment on both of our parts. You know, P&S has done this year after year after year, and a lot of companies. And so many people, 90% of them were there for the right reasons. is those people stood up and know, and now inviting them in and people seeing firsthand what it takes at that project and the teamwork and the camaraderie. You know, we have a lot of you guys don't know is that we've got these little, we did it for the first time this year. We've got these poker chips and we gave them out when we saw team members doing amazing things. We gave them out and then the team went on their own. And you'd give somebody a poker chip, and the next thing you know is they're giving it to somebody else that they respected that's doing a good job. And so at the end of the day, we'd have this competition of who had the most poker chips, and we'd give them a gift. And it was amazing to see all of a sudden we have a tie, and team 2 would come in. Their one of their team members was in the tie, and they'd give them enough poker chips to beat the other person. It was a friendly competition of building people up. It was amazing. And we can't do that without that. Let me tell you people that are memorable. Kevin and Michelle Davis, class acts. And I wish I could name everybody in the industry, but Kevin and Michelle came to my mind first. So I'm going with them. They're friendly, they're real, they're people of faith, serious entrepreneurs, family, but no BS allowed. They stand up for what's right. They stand up for people. I've seen them do it many times. And I just think that they're memorable. Glenn Stearns, I just talked to him last week. He's an undercover billionaire guy. I was on the show with him. He started with nothing. I thought I started out low on the totem pole. Glenn started out at one of the lowest points I know of any entrepreneur that's even become a millionaire. And he's damn near a billionaire. I don't think he's quite because he sold his company. Doesn't matter. He's worth more money than most people ever dream of being worth. You know, hundreds of millions, that's good to me. Okay. But he's a real guy. He's accepted me for who I was. We got in trouble on the set. We constantly were getting shut down. You guys leave. You guys leave. You guys leave. We're messing with cameras. We're messing with equipment. It was like two 12-year-olds being let loose on a set where we started laughing so hard they had to retake a whole session. Well, that shit's expensive, right? And so they're like, Glenn, we're on your dime. He goes, I'm rich enough. Don't worry about it. We got to go crack up somewhere else, though. Vince Smith, one of my local heroes. He's a friend. He's a mentor. He's a coach to me. And he started out blue collar gets. And he's a self-made millionaire. And he stands up for what's right. You don't get mixed words with Vince. If you see something, if you say something about somebody, that's who I learned it from. You know, say, hey, why are you talking like that about somebody when they're not here? Go get them, then we'll talk. I've seen him do it many times. And this guy's somebody. He was the king of Big Bear. He sold an investment that was originally under $500,000. Almost 40 years later, was worth several million that he sold. And he's blue collar gets. And I already mentioned Rich Canino. We pick up on a conversation we had 3 years ago, no problem. Those are memorable people. Make yourself memorable. You don't have to look a certain way. Matter of fact, the more you look and act like you, the better. Figure out your own style. I went back a lot. This is who I am. I am the closest. I went through all kinds of different trials of figuring out who I was in the industry and how to portray myself. And most of them were complete bullshit because I was trying to figure out who I was. I just figured out just be who I am. And some people don't like it. I'm sorry. I'm a pretty cool dude. You know? And I'm not saying that to be cocky, but I am. If I got your back, I got your back. And I'm going to be a friend. I'm going to tell you when you're fucking up. You know? And I'm also going to be okay when you surpass me. I've got people in this group, in this industry, that are going to surpass anything I did. I want them to. I got bad news. I want them to do it. I want to do it before my ride here is over because I want to see it. And I don't mind them. I want them to break every record I've done. I mean, I've got a product line. I want them to have 2 product lines. I've got a tool. I want them to have 10 tools. I have building and properties. I want them to become multimillionaires in their real estate empire because I want them to I want them to cast a shadow where I can't be seen anymore. But good luck, because as they get better, they drive me to get better too. And no matter what age. Does a race car driver stop racing? Never. I've got a special friend of mine that was in my command and became a general. And he said this one day. I asked him, I said, guy like you, Green Beret, Special Forces, been to served in multiple wars. Is there anything that scares you? And he goes, oh, yeah. Every time I went on a mission, I was scared to death. And he says, but the biggest fear I've got is becoming non-dangerous to another man. Because he's a warrior. And I said, well, what's the answer to that? And he goes, making you more dangerous. I thought, wow. From a warrior standpoint, that's what his business is. Pretty amazing. William, y'all, Chris, Matt, our VIP guests that are going to go work their asses off now. We want to thank you. Thanks for having us back. This has been fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Like always.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. And again, be memorable. Come up and introduce yourself. Share this thing. Leave us a comment. Email me, Renny@detailingsuccess.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. But most of all, if you think somebody else would enjoy this, send it over to them. We don't splatter a bunch of advertising and everything else over this thing. It's not us. But you know what? We like to make a positive impact with other people. So I don't care about being given trophies or anything else for podcast. I just like changing one person's life that listens to the podcast every time we produce it. That's my goal.
By the way, real quick, what's a good way for people to find and follow William?
Yeah, they can find me at Miami Luxe Detail Supply across all social media platforms.
And then Matt, you've got some interesting. So the company, but you've got your own kind of going that you're growing. So how do they get up here and kind of say it? So
I want to see Matt. I want to see Matt. I don't want to hear Matt. I want to see Matt.
That means
this is how big he is. Look at this. I mean, on how short I am.
Yeah, but I was negative social media before. Now that I kind of got into it a little bit more, and with this whole venture, it's been pretty inspiring and fun. Yeah. And we've been making it fun, and that's what I think the best part. But that's basically Matt Dinerbraid on Instagram is the only one I really kind of do, and just trying to get out there, spread the word and awareness. But I just want to make sure that everybody just keeps a positive attitude. I mean, it really comes down to it's very infectious if we could just be positive.
That's exactly it. And listen, there's going to be times that people rub on you and there's friction between you. Those times are going to happen. I've got people that I just don't rub well with, right? And so they're going to say, oh my God, that guy being positive, right? That's one person's opinion, and it's just because the rub goes both ways, not one way. So don't think that we're slinging out here that you're going to be 100% positive all the time. There are people that, if they're on life support, I'm going to unplug it and charge my cell phone. I'm just going to say it the way it is that there's just some negative people out there, and we rub each other. I don't wish them any bad. That was just a way. That's a joke. I'm not going to go unplug somebody's freaking life support. So it's a joke for those that take things way too serious. But my point to that is that you're not going to ever be perfect. Don't try to be. And so with that, go out and have a powerful day. Thanks for tuning in, and it's good to be back. And Chris, we'll see you up here, in about an hour and a half?
Oh, yeah, right. I'll be lucky if I leave in an hour and a half. But I'll be up this afternoon and go take care of a few things here first.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we'll see you all next time, and we're going to get to work. See ya.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Renny Doyle Podcast, brought to you by Detailing Success and PNS Double Black. Listen to new episodes weekly, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues.